Senator Cory Booker announcing that he is going to be joining the growing field of Democrat nominees for 2020. Democrats all seem to have one thing in common. They say they can pay for all of their new spending plans by adding more taxes on the rich. But the White House's Larry Kudlow says the rich are already paying their fair share. Roll tape.
The top 1% of Americans pay 37% of all the income taxes, okay? And the top 1% basically pays more than the lowest 90%. So who's carrying the freight here? The most successful are not only paying their fair share, they're paying the most.
So, gang, two views. Who's right?
Top 1% do pay their fair share, I think, David. And I don't have the number of what we all should be taxed, but how about start at a flat tax rate? That would be a great idea. Otherwise, at some point in time, especially I would imagine over 70% tax on the wealthy or the rich would drive capital innovation and business ideas out of the country. And then you don't have anybody else left to tax.
Okay, well, let's be clear here. If we're having an economics conversation or a political conversation, if we're having a political conversation, then it's up to that we all sort of know intuitively what the voters think. I think we've talked about that already. So it's decent politics to say we should tax the rich more. As for are the rich paying their fair share, David? I mean, we need to be philosophers to answer that question. Larry Kudlow's numbers are undoubtedly right. They are paying what they're paying, but is it the right amount? Is it a fair amount? We get to argue about that.
I would say, first of all, Cory Booker is going to make someone a nice vice president. If he was Hillary's vice president, I think the election might have turned out. She made a big mistake there. He's pretty moderate. He's friends with the tech guys. He's not really one of these soaked to billionaire guys as much as other people that are getting into the election right now. So if you got to go with somebody, he's the guy to go with. As far as those facts that we just heard out of the previous guest is basically proof that the middle class is undertaxed. So the European model is a high flat tax often, or just higher taxes on people starting at like $50,000, $60,000. That's where it's undertaxed. If you want all these programs to fix cities, he was the mayor of Newark, to have better trains, that is paid for not by squeezing the top 1% more. It's again, they dropped, as you mentioned before, they dropped the wealth tax in Europe. They did not drop the VAT, value-added taxes. They did not drop the high taxes on the middle class. You need a very broad tax base to offer benefits to everybody, national health care, et cetera.
You're not running for office, Jonas.
You can't run for office with that platform.
That's
you can
why he's
barely be on television.
Since we're talking taxes again, let me start by saying serenity now before we get going. Look, here's the problem. We're not hearing higher taxes. We're hearing the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. There is a dream of these people. You know, I have on my desk in my office 1975, where we had 26 tax rates. The highest rate was 70%, and it started at 200,000, and the first 200,000 was at 55. Guess what happened to the economy and innovation?
As you know.
Hold on, let me finish. When it came down. Now, if we want to go to all these European countries that they love so well and go to the 50s and 60s, it's stifles innovation, and there's a reason why we have the strongest developed economy around the globe. By the way, by far right now, it's because of less. It's less taxes, less money out of the economy's pocket.
I'm not saying I subscribe to this because it's too late on a Friday afternoon for me to get my head around this. But as you know, AOC is not advocating the 70s. She's advocating the 50s and 60s when innovation was raging in the United States, as was economic growth. The oil shock had something to do with what you're talking about in the 70s.
But you know what also happened back at that time is that the real rate that the rich people paid was far less than the top rate today. I mean, the real rate when there was 90%, when we had a top rate of 90%, let me finish. The real rate that was paid by the top 1% was 30%. There were so many deductions.
You could write off your sneakers back then.
That's why you have a flat tax. Doesn't that make sense for both sides?
This goes back
Get rid of all the loopholes.
The problem with the flat tax, Heather, as much as I would love the idea, Steve Forbes was
luckily he's not here, so
he's not here. But the problem with the flat tax is that so many Americans pay no taxes right now that it would mean a tax increase by the bottom 40%.
I just converted one person to tax you the middle class
This goes back to how big government is. Federally, they're going to spend $4.4 trillion this year. In the year 2000, it was 1.8. It's going to head into the 5s and the 6s, and I can promise you, I don't care what anybody does, the economy is not going to be able to stand bigger and bigger and bloated government.
But Gary, those numbers are big because
for.
America's so big. In other countries, as a percentage of GDP, they actually spend more money on people. Again,
it's out of hand, my
there's
friend.
negatives for that. You got slower GDP growth. But look, Cory Booker took money from a billionaire who made money because this is the best country to run a business in, and it helped the schools in Newark. So he's not going to then just ruin that golden goose. He sees the benefit there. He's more like of a Hillary Clinton type about that.
David, I'm listening to this conversation, and I think again, like Gary, for example, I think you and I would agree. Why aren't we talking about cutting spending? But we aren't.
Yes,
and
please.
By the way, President Trump isn't. I mean, he's behaving like an old school Democrat. And I sort of ask you, David. I mean, you and your ex-Wall Street Journal editorial page buddies. What do we say about this? What should we think about this?
Well, I can tell you one thing is that you were asking how much Americans would think is a fair amount to pay in taxes every time, and we have asked that time and again, whether it's the Fox opinion poll or Wall Street Journal opinion poll. 25% is the rate. The majority of the people say is fair, and that's everything.
Sold.
Hold on a second. That's federal, state, and local combined. Most Americans think that should be the top rate, but it never happens in politics.
From your mouth to God's ears on that, but that's not happening.
I don't think I'll be alive to see that.